Life in Letters.
The presenting sponsor of My Life in Letters is sprayplanet.com. This is where you go to get everything MTN colors, be it 94, hardcore, whatever it is, go check them out. They're also the distributor of Crink products, Posca markers, and Grog inks. So go check out sprayplanet.com right now, order something, and go make your mark. But without further ado, let's get into this next episode. My Life in Letters. We are back again and again. I'm in Bushwick, Brooklyn. I am Adam. On the phone right now in Miami, Florida. We have Reds from TKO, AM7 004. What's good, Reds?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, well, happy to have you here. And what is up is it's all about you. It's your time to shine. And we were saying before the call, or before the interview, rather, that, I don't even know if a lot of people know you're a woman. I certainly didn't at first. And we were just talking about how, you're not here to, push the whole girl power movement. You're not here. I said to you, we're not expecting you to speak for all women, certainly not all, graffiti writing women. But, it's an interesting layer to this story because, the narrative of women being silenced in all artistic industries, we're pushing back on that here at My Life in Letters. And I have a feeling that you push back on that as well. So, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And, also, like I told you about the way our format of this podcast works is we try to go back early. You told me that you started writing in 2007, but I'm really interested in knowing before that, I presume you had some kind of an experience with lettering that got you pumped off of it. Yeah, you do. Okay, great. You wanna tell us that story or what it was?
Sure. I mean, I've always, been an artist since I was a kid, but when I really took an interest in, letters was probably, I'd say around sixth grade maybe. And someone had handed me a Subway art book, which instantly became a favorite book of mine that I carried to school every day. Forget the notebooks. That was the one thing in my book bag. Okay. And I'd sit there in class, copying. And I already told them about this poem was the one that really stood out to me. And I would just copy his pieces, letter by letter, not even tracing. I would really sit down and try to copy the whole thing. And, later on did I do the whole book bags and T-shirts and all that throughout, middle school, high school. And that's what I was always known as.
Yeah. You mean you were known as the person that was the girl that was doing some sort of graffiti on stuff?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, who handed you that book, that copy of Subway art?
Dude, I don't even know. And it sucks, because they changed my life completely. Yeah. And it sucks that I cannot even remember who it was. And the book was falling apart.
Oh, nice. So it had been
all the pages were falling out, and I tried my best to glue it back together and tape it. The book was a mess.
And just so I know, were you born and raised in Florida?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Miami-Dade County.
Ah, you're a Dade County native. Okay. And so then also, what year was sixth grade for you? When did you get your hands on that book? Yeah, we do the math around here.
And I suck at math.
That's okay, me too.
But I'm really good in algebra. Dude, I don't even know. I mean, I graduated in 2005.
2005. So then 2001 you started high school. So 2099 maybe? Around
99. 98, 98. That sounds about right.
What I'm curious about is in 98 and 99, Miami had already gone through numerous generations, multiple waves of graffiti, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it dates back, there was stuff happening in the 70s in Miami from the research we've done, and there was an explosion in the 80s, everywhere else. What I'm curious about.
I will say though, driving around as a kid, I do remember seeing all the graffiti on the walls, and it did call my attention. Mm-hmm. And even my cousin, as a matter of fact, he kind of did graffiti, I don't know if he ever did it on walls or not. But I remember helping him move, and he had like a hand style saying, like, oh, bedroom or whatever. And I remember rushing to go copy that hand style. And after we were done, like, I asked him, I'm like, hey, could you teach me how to do this? And he's like, oh, no, that's graffiti. Like, your mom will flip, this, that. I'm like, dude, just give me like an alphabet or something. And, after we kept fighting back and forth, he finally gave in and, went ahead and gave me an alphabet. And that's what I worked off of.
And so was that like, I just want to keep the timeline clear. That was before 6th grade, before the the Subway art book?
A little bit. I guess that's why I was really happy about the Subway art book.
Right.
When they gave it to me. Yeah.
And so I'm curious, like pre that experience with your cousin, you said you did see some graffiti like on walls just by nature of being in Dade County. What do you remember what your understanding of graffiti was as a little girl, as like a kid? Like, what did you think of it?
I loved it. Obviously, I didn't know the extent that it's like, oh, it's illegal. Like, it was just something I was looking at. So, like, I didn't think that far.
Yeah.
And even as hand styles, like not even like nice murals or anything, I just liked the letters, like the different styles that I would see everywhere. I found it interesting. Even seeing hollows, I'm like, oh, cool. And people out here in Miami tended to do a lot of faces, like characters into their hollows, which I found interesting, and I loved it, especially like being racist, seeing, Crook and Chrome, like they were making the headlines, and they were all over the news, for everything that they were doing. I kept on like finding an interest into this. Yeah. And still not even really realizing that it's illegal.
Right. Sure. Well, yeah, because it's just there and you don't even know, right? Also, you're a little kid. I'm curious also what your experience was, if you can tie something back to the very first time that you took in graffiti. Do you have a first memory of seeing graph?
Oh my gosh. A first memory, I basically had gotten arrested 2 months in. Okay, and I remember this. I started late 2007 because I had gotten arrested, what was it, in November? And I think I had started in October or something.
Damn.
So so that is when I finally like realized like, oh shit, you can get arrested for this. Like, I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing, right. Basically.
And like I was trying to get at like before 98 or even...
Oh, before that?
Yeah, or before 90. Let's say even it was even 97 or... No, it was 98 you said you got that book, and around 98 when you saw your cousin's hands. Like, what about before that? Like, and I know you said you were rolling around, you'd see it on the walls. I'm wondering if you could pinpoint a year to the first time you noticed like sort of spray paint graffiti and that it was something more than just, a scratch on the wall.
I think it was just, mainly like around the same time. Okay. Really, because it was just like one thing after the next that I was like, okay, is this like a more popular thing now or what's going on?
And I guess I don't know if it was like... You're like 11 years old, so it's like, for a lot of kids, like so much stuff is happening. You're trying to just figure out who you are and what your body is doing. Yeah. And like then it's like there's just a lot of stuff sort of in the background. I've had a lot of people say on the podcast that graffiti was just sort of a thing in the background, kind of like just the sounds of the city. You didn't spend a lot of time focusing on it. It was just there. And then one day it somehow comes into focus, and maybe for you, it was either getting that book or seeing your cousin's hand styles. I'm curious also, that alphabet that your cousin gave you, what was it like? Was it just tags? Did he do letters? Were they bubbles?
It was like, it wasn't even like throwies. I guess it was like kind of like straight in a sense.
Okay. So he spent some time. It wasn't just tags. He like spent some time to like sketch out the whole alphabet.
Yeah, because he saw my interest, and I mean, I guess it really what set it off was getting that book. That's what really, really inspired me. Though I already had it lingering, getting like, oh, I like that. Like, that's cool. And then seeing my cousin, like, oh shoot, like he can like go ahead and kind of teach me. Right. And then finally getting that book, I'm like, but. Yeah, he gave me an alphabet, but he didn't continue to actually like sit down with me, and he never asked me like, "Oh, what did you draw?" Like, or did you do anything with that? Like, so I just took it upon myself, like, all right, you know what? Like, let's learn some shit, and I just kept flipping through the book, and when I would do like custom pieces for people, like I didn't really like steal anything, of course, it was like super toy and wax, adding all the arrows and bars that I could.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, hey, they're doing it. You get me?
Yeah.
But I tried. I really, really tried. And I've always, I hate the whole self-taught thing, but because I was influenced by others, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
You get me? But, there wasn't really anyone to ever sit down with me. Even when I started on Wall, no one really sat down with me and like, this is how it goes. These are the rules. Like, nothing. I just had to figure out everything on my own.
But you had that alphabet, and you had a copy of Subway Art, which, by the way, I'm also interested in if you can talk a little bit, because we're probably going to get him on the podcast any day now. Like, what was it that about the poem pieces that was so influential on you, you think?
I don't know. He was just the one artist like that really, really caught my eye. And I guess because if you look at Subway Art, there's a lot of straights in them.
Yeah.
And they look fresh, with all the characters and everything. I guess his really stood out because he always leaned more towards piecing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he had those I'm actually looking at it right now. He has these swirl bar coming off his P and the swirl off the M. It had like a nice symmetrical thing kind of going on.
It had a lot of style.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of style.
And you were saying that you just straight up started biting that or copying that or not. You didn't trace it.
Exactly. I would copy exactly poem.
Wow.
On paper.
Yeah, and then
and he started cracking up when he heard that story.
I bet. I'm sure he was flattered too, from what I hear about the guy. He's a humble dude. Yeah. And I'm also interested then if when did you just kind of go public with this thing in 98, 99? Did you just start doing stuff on your own backpack? How did people start asking you to do little custom pieces, their names?
Well, yeah, I would ruin every JanSport I had. My mom would flip. She's like, oh my God, it's not cheap. These book bags are not cheap. So she started buying cheap book bags.
Yeah, because you were just, were you paint markering them? Were you doing paint marker pieces on them?
No, it's a straight Sharpie.
Okay, yeah. And they were kind of a mess.
Yes, it was so bad. Oh, you know what I would do? I would, the pocket of it, I would completely white it out. That thing was so crusty.
That's great, though. So you were basically just using the materials you could get your hands on, which is Sharpies and white out.
I didn't know about paint markers. Yeah. I didn't know any of that.
And so in a way, you said you were kind of self-taught. However, you had. One thing I should also say, I think you're maybe the youngest writer that we've had on the show so far, which I think is great because getting your perspective on things is really, really cool. And so the reason I bring up your age is because while you may have been quote unquote kind of self-taught or learning on your own, you had this advantage of having decades, 40 years of graph before you to draw on. And you also are a post-internet graffiti kid. The internet was in place by the time you started really rocking. Not in 98, 99. It wasn't totally in place yet. It was certainly there. But it
was getting there.
Yeah, it was really getting there. And, by the time you say you really started writing in 2007, it was a phenomenon, right? And so I'm curious about, you had this book, you are doing these book bags and other little custom pieces. In 98 or 99, had anyone taken notice that was a writer and said, hey, let me show you a couple of things?
Nope.
No.
Ever.
Okay. Really?
Mm-mm.
So talk about how, let's keep going with 98, 99. I know you're a kid. You're in 6th, 7th grade, and you're doing books and sketches, or doing bags and sketches. Was that sort of just how things were going? You were in school, you were living your life, but you were always drawing letters?
Yes. I would always draw little hip hop characters, which was a thing, which is funny. I don't even do them now. But that was my thing. I was so big on hip hop, which I'm the complete opposite right now. Saying, I like hip hop and all, but I was all oh yeah, all the elements and break dancing and this and that.
Yeah.
I wish someone would have taught me because it would have sped up all this. Who knows how much fresh I would be today. And starting at such a young age.
Yeah.
But I I don't know.
But so
I would
no one
trade
took you.
lollipops for these sketches.
Yeah.
I would trade candy for
You're
sketches.
definitely
or
the
like
first
stuff I would-
person to say that they would do graft for candy, and I'm really happy to hear that. That's amazing. So and then how did it progress? Like, let's say let's just jump into your freshman year of high school. By the way, did you like stay? Were you in Dade this whole time? You never bopped around?
Yes.
Okay. So in
Yes.
high school, I've heard from, like when we interviewed Atomico, as I recall, he said there weren't very many kids in his high school that were writing, or at least that he knew of. What was your high school like? Were there writers there?
There was actually. There wasn't a whole bunch, excuse me, but there was quite a few, to be honest. And they were older than me, actually. They were all seniors.
Okay.
Which actually, even after we graduated, one of them, which he writes TKO, he was the only one that ever gave me any kind of advice when I actually started painting. Because mind you, I'm still in high school, not painting on walls.
Right.
I didn't start till 2 years after I graduated. He's the only one that gave me any kind of advice as to like graffiti wise, which was just like, well, if you can rock, a stock cap on a Rusto, you can master anything. And that's what stuck with me. And that's why I have the clean lines today. Like, you can give me a Rusto, it doesn't matter where I'm at. Like, I don't need the fancy paint, though I prefer it, obviously.
Yeah.
But you can hand me anything, and I'm going to be able to rock with it because of him.
And I'm sorry, what was his name?
Pico.
And how did you come across him? Like, how was that? How did that friendship develop?
I knew him from high school.
And what I'm curious about is, like, you knew him from high school. Did you know that he was a writer? Was it like at your school? Was it real obvious who the writers were, or did they keep it kind of hush? So they weren't trying to hide it as much.
No, I guess since I was in that scene, because I would hang out with a lot of b-boys and MCs, we all kind of stuck together.
Okay.
And I knew that he wrote, but it's like how I say, like, I guess during that time, like, I didn't think anything of it. It's like, yeah, I like graffiti, but I just didn't know the extent of it.
And also, you didn't know that there was any danger involved at that point, that it was even illegal. Okay.
Exactly.
And so, I'm just curious about, because we talk a lot about mentorship on the podcast here, and like people bringing other people up, which, when I was coming up in the 90s, like you had to have a mentor, because otherwise you were just going to stay toy for years, and if you were lucky enough to find someone that was going to school you, you really took advantage of that, and you honored it. Would you say that Pico then started to show you some stuff? I mean, you talked about the paint. Did he look at your letter styles back then and give you any tips?
I mean, he would, but he never really gave me any advice. That was the only thing, because I asked him hey, is there anything that you can tell me, to help me out? And that's all he said. He's like, well, because he's kind of like a douche. He's such an asshole.
All right.
But that's all he told me, and I kind of took it as oh, okay, because the guys would never want to hang out with me or anything, and people would look at my stuff and be like, oh yeah, that's cool, I just never got any feedback, any real feedback. You get me? Tell me I'm a freaking toy. Tell me that's not working out. I'm gonna listen.
Yeah, but instead,
I can be a little hard-headed, I will admit.
So you were a little hard-headed. They sounded like maybe they were a little bit I don't know, ambiguous or uninterested in giving you any pointers. Do you think that had to do with your age, or that you were a girl, or that I was a girl? Really? Okay. That's unfortunate. And I'm curious about that also.
Well, that and I don't know if the scene out here in Miami is any different than others, but everyone's so selfish and so rude. And I will say I'm one of those. You get me? I developed into being one of those people. But I will say, when I first started, it was tough. It was really, really tough. I was humiliated, you get me, always being called a toy. Oh, this girl's not going to make it past 6 months, blah, 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 you get me. And I guess that's what really kept me going, to be honest.
Yeah. Detractors or haters always keep pushing us forward, I think. And so then, So talk about a little bit more about high school. Like, how did it? Because I mean, I know that you said you didn't really go out bombing or whatever it was until 2007. What were you doing in high school besides high school things? Were you always sketching? Were you continuing to do backpacks and sketches for people?
I didn't. There was a point in time that I stopped.
Okay.
Like throughout my freshman and sophomore year, I took it like, I would sketch all the time. All my binders, like those plastic binders that you could flip in stuff.
Yeah.
I always had like a nice piece on it. Every week I tried to swap it out. Like that was like I was so determined. Every week I had to have a new fresh piece on it. And I got over it, and then I got into racing like cars and stuff.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm curious about that. Like, when you decided, or whatever it was, maybe it decided for you was it your junior year that you kind of put down the sketching a little bit? So when you started focusing on what cars, these are real cars or like RC cars?
Yeah, real cars.
Okay. So when you started focusing on racing cars, what in the back of your mind, where were the letters, or inside of you, where did the letters exist? Were they just there?
It was still there, but I wouldn't sit down and sketch anymore. I just didn't really care to keep up with the scene. Like, it was cars. So the only time that I would even use any kind of graffiti related to the car scene, because I had my own car forum. I would put together car meets. Like, I was really known in that scene. It was when I was making like stickers or logos for other people.
Okay.
That's it.
I see. Okay. So you still did some graphic design type work, but it wasn't graph related, but it probably had that tone or that kind of vibe to it. Because
I would do like hand styles and like little, quick get-ups if they wanted that or whatever. So I would like do like little jobs here and there as far as like letter wise, but it wasn't like I was sitting down anymore for my own pleasure. And or trying to better myself.
I was gonna
ask, like a dead period.
Sure, I was gonna ask before, because you mentioned the scene, right? And so I'm presuming that's like not just the graph scene, that's like the hip hop scene, because that's kind of where you were. You were into all the elements, like in your freshman and sophomore year, hanging out with b-boys. Beyond your high school, were you taking in the Miami graph scene as you would just traverse the city and do stuff? Was it like, were you the type of kid that was out benching freights or checking out walls and things?
No, I really wasn't. The only thing is that we still have this one place called Catalyst. And what Catalyst is that every Saturday, it's basically where you go to practice the 4 elements of hip hop. And they used to have a wall. And you would go there and practice every Saturday while you're listening, to all the break beats, MCs, DJs practicing. Like, it was a super dope area. And it was held actually like in a church, which I'm not religious at all. The guy even knew, and he just passed away last year, rest in peace, Joel. He helped so many writers out here, dude. Like, when I kept getting arrested and I had to do community service, he would sign off for me. All he would say is like, okay, buff the wall, pick up after everybody, make sure everything's clean. And that was like my community service, which was still great because I would go there anyways.
And
so that helped me out a lot.
That sounds interesting. And so Catalyst was in a church, but what, did they have like a wall in the back of the building or something where people could paint outside?
It was weird. Like, I guess the church had like this building. I mean, Catalyst started in a trailer, to be honest. And then they kept stepping up and got so much more popular that they moved on to a bigger church. And like, there was like the side that I guess it was like kind of the school, but there was like rooms that were empty. So that's where the b-boys could set up and all that.
Sure.
And then they had this one large wall, I guess, like on their playground.
Okay.
And that's what we practice on.
And so you would go there and so then I'm curious when the first time you mentioned that Pico kind of, he gave you cans, right? He gave you Rustos?
No, he didn't give me anything.
Oh, I thought you had said...
He just told me basically, because I had asked him, I'm like, hey, what paint should I get? Should I get Montana or should I get, what should I get? All I was naming was basically like, fancy paint. And I mean, I knew the Rusto was there, but I'm like, dude, Rusto's so hard on my hand. Like, fuck, like there has to be something that's better.
Yeah.
And he just told me straight up, like he looked at my can. I was holding a Rusto at that time. He was just like, dude, just keep the stock can. I mean, back then we didn't really have adapters.
Yeah.
So he's like, if you could rock a clean piece with a stock cap on a Russell, you can master anything. Like, you can use any paint. I'm like, okay, sure.
He was right. Pico was definitely
so right.
Yeah. And so,
and that's actually advice that I give today.
Yeah. I mean, that's good advice, you know? I mean, so many people rely on their tools as opposed to just like getting can control nowadays, you know?
Exactly.
So I'm curious then, when did you do your first piece of any kind back in those days? Was it at a Catalyst wall, or had you done some spray paint piece before Catalyst?
It was so bad. There was just this wall, this plain wall out in an area called Kendall. And my friends, I mean, it wasn't until somebody really pushed me, because they kept seeing me like draw on paper, and he's like, dude, you're like so quick on paper, like, why don't you just take it to the wall already? I'm like,
Who told you that?
Dude. He was a friend. I can't even remember what he wrote. I know he changed his name to like, was it Maple or something? I'm like, but dude, there's a Maple out there.
Okay. But so another writer friend of yours, was he part of your like kind of hip hop crew that would hang out? Kind of like Pico? Okay.
He was like friends of a friend of a friend, like that. Like, and he then saw that, he went to Arts Institute with me, as a matter of fact. And that's how we became like better friends.
Okay.
And he was already like, he already knew how to paint. But I guess he was also like looking for somebody to go with. And when he seen me, like, he's like, dude, you do this shit like so quick on paper, like just take it to the wall. And I kind of freaked out. I'm like, dude, yeah, right. It's going to look so bad. I've never done spray paint before. He's like, just practice. Like, that's all it takes. I'm like, I don't know. And it took him like a week to finally convince me. I'm like, all right, fine. And
was this in your freshman or sophomore year? This is before the racing began?
No, that's it. It was 2007.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, and I don't want to jump up there yet. So I'm interested then, because it sounds like Catalyst was around during high school, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like high school, and I would go just to watch my friends break.
So you would go there to see the B-boys, but you would not go to that playground wall and watch dude's piece, or even attempt to think about doing your own piece. Interesting. But you were sketching every day at that time, and you were doing bags and stuff. I would
sit down as I watched my friends dance, and I'd be, just drawing in the black books.
That's so funny, though, funny to me that you didn't make your way out to that playground wall where dudes were potentially doing pieces.
I was scared.
Okay. I mean, were you scared because you were a toy? Were you scared because you were a girl? Was it all of those things combined?
It was just everything, and I'm like, oh no, everybody's gonna look at me, and I'm gonna do so bad. Okay. So that's cool. That I wanted to get at that, and I was also interested. In those 2 years, that freshman, sophomore year, when you were doing all those sketches, you had Subway art, and you also, you had mentioned a couple of dudes like Crook and Chrome. Like, were you getting influence from Miami writers on the wall? Like, were you seeing what they were doing and that was going into your sketches, or were you still just kind of... Yes. Okay. It was. But I will say during that time, because I guess that's when like the internet was like fresh,
Yeah.
They had art crimes.
Yeah, sure.
I remember.
That's right.
And that's what I would go on and just look. And I think it was a Pure Graffiti. And I just look and just roam. That was my computer time at school. Like, while everyone's doing everything else, I'm just like, graffiti.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do. Definitely. And so then, junior, senior year, it is like purely about racing cars, and you didn't even really sketch, or even did you notice graffiti even less during those car years?
Less. Yeah. So much less. Yeah.
And you said you graduated in 2005. And you also mentioned the Art Institute. Did you go to the Art Institute in Fort Lauderdale?
No, I went to the one here in Miami. Okay. That it's like Miami International University of Design. But I didn't even finish. Like, okay.
But you did.
I dropped out.
And so, did you graduate in 2005?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
I don't know how.
I hear you. I was the same way. I was like, my mom did a deal, and got me through. So in 2005, when you left high school, was it still the emphasis on cars, racing cars?
Yes, it was. Up about until like 2007. That's when I really was like, okay, fine. And then graffiti just took over. Like, I'm a very intense person. So it's like, I'll be obsessed with one thing 1 minute, and then the next I'm obsessed with another.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really common. I hope don't take any offense. That's really common in your generation. I've been reading about millennials, and I think it has to do with just the amount of fucking information you guys have grown up with is so much more than my generation or the generation before me, and it has a lot to do with the internet, right? And so it makes a lot of sense. You're like, yo, this is hype right now, and then it's like, oh wait, this is hype right now. And so for you, did you have any experience with the cars that was like, this is just like, what am I going to do with this? This is just like, this is a car. Like, I can't keep racing this forever. Or did Graph just kind of like jump back on your radar and you were like, oh yeah, that cool thing?
It jumped on my radar. And during that time when I finally like really started, because I was still piecing and racing still. So it was like my attention was on both, but I kept falling in love more with graffiti and seeing that cars can, I mean, both hobbies are pretty expensive if you look at it. Depending how you do it.
Yes.
And, with the racing, I was like getting into like a lot of fights, like a lot of arguments with people. And I'm just like, dude, like these tickets, like I was also getting arrested for that.
Actually, just like, give me a little bit of a background because I'm so out of car culture. Was it like nighttime, like drag racing on some sort of like cutty strip somewhere in Miami where?
Yes.
Okay.
We would have what we called the hangout, and every day was a different hangout, whether it was at the Wendy's, at whatever street. Like we had our set places. And there was some that we had like either the drag strip really close, so we would meet at the gas station, set up the races, or just hang out, and look at, what new part did you install in your car? Oh, how much horsepower is your car making now? Like, just to chat it up.
Yeah.
So with the forum that I also owned, we would get together, either at a Chili's. Like, I would always try to keep people together. I love having people together. I love being surrounded by friends. And I always made these car meets, always. Even barbecues that people would drive from Texas to get to.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, it blew up big.
Also, what were you racing? Just curious, like what kind of cars?
Okay. I was more of like the Japanese, like, but not your annoying, like, man, parts out of Pep Boys type thing. Like, we were really into it, like, which is what we call JDM. Japanese domestic market, that we would buy exclusive parts from Japan that only come out there.
And these are going into like a Honda? Is that what you were driving?
Yes, Hondas, Nissans, Subarus, like all along those lines.
And you were getting bagged for that. You were getting arrested, or you were getting tickets for that?
Tickets and arrested.
And like what? I mean, are they arresting you because it's like, yo, we've already given you 3 tickets for going 100 miles an hour or more. Tonight you're going to jail. Like, how did it go down that they would arrest you?
It wasn't only that. Like, not just because you're racking up tickets. It's because once you reach a certain speed limit, like you go over that speed limit, it's criminal speed already. So they can choose to either take you, to jail, or give you a written arrest. Which is, the promise to appear in court.
Right.
Those are like instant. They're all misdemeanors instantly. The thing is also drag racing is illegal.
Yeah. Okay.
Setting up, and since some people also like bet money on which car is faster and all that, just falls into just it being illegal. So these cops would like come rushing to our hangouts and block the exits, and we were all stuck in there. They were giving ticket by ticket by ticket.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And
like,
so,
whoever could made it out, good for you.
Yeah. But sometimes you didn't make it out, and so was that was another sign for you that it was like, nah, this is not working out. I'm getting arrested. I'm paying all these fines. I guess your car would get impounded. It was making it an even more costly hobby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what? Tell us about that first piece then in 2007. So how did it all build up to that point where you're like, I'm going out tonight? And can you tell us the mission or what it was?
I did this, the first like little get up. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. But it was just so satisfying. And I'm like, yeah, and like being able to like drive past the spot and, that feeling that I got away. like, cool. But still at that moment, I didn't know how illegal it was. Like, I knew what I was doing was wrong, just not the reality of like, oh, I can get arrested for this.
Okay. And you still, to this point, you don't have a mentor or someone saying, hey, this shit is illegal, yo. Like, you can go to fucking jail for this. You did not know?
No.
And also, are you 19 when you did your first in 2007?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what was that first get up? Where was it?
It was like this big grassy area. I mean, it could still be seen from the street, but it was like someone's wall. Like, it was a house, but it was their side wall.
Okay.
And it's just this concrete, wall out in Kendall out here in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Which is a really heated area that people would like surprise. They're like, you're coming to paint in Kendall? Like, are you crazy? Because we have like this gang unit out here that goes crazy over graffiti.
Okay. And you still chose that spot, and you were like, yeah, I'm going to do it. What did you, by the way, did you have a name back in your freshman, sophomore year that you were playing around with? Did you have a graffiti name?
It's always been Red.
So then, okay, even back then in 98, 99, or whenever those freshman years were, 2001, like
that. No, and I can't even remember what I used as a name. I think it was like Crazy or some shit like that. Like,
okay, and then in 2007, when you decide to go do that one wall on the side of that home in Kendall, you said, "I'm going to go write the name Reds."
Yeah, it was just Red at that point.
R-E-D.
I still hadn't added the S yet.
And why?
Yeah.
Why Red?
Because back in high school, I used to have like radiant red hair, and when I'm active, my cheeks get really red. So there was a friend of mine that I had for PE, and we had just ran the mile, and I had like a red ribbon in my hair, a red drawstring backpack, red shoes, red basketball shorts, and my cheeks are red as hell.
And red hair, right?
And red hair. And he's just like, dude, you look like a red crayon. And like, every day after that, he just kept on, yo, red crayon. And then it just like fell short to red. So I'm like, you know what? I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a run with that.
Yeah.
And it's stuck.
I
hate that people always like meet me and they'll be like, you don't even have red hair anymore. I'm like, oh my God, here we go.
I just say it's your favorite color or something. I'm curious though. In 2007, did you, since you know of stuff like that there's a huge history in graffiti, like having had subway art put in your hand early on, and by now with art crimes and everything, you know that it's a global thing. Had you thought, oh wait, there must be some other Reds around, or again, did you just not have any understanding that maybe you shouldn't do that at first?
No, absolutely not. But a year into painting, that was like MySpace days.
Uh-huh.
And I do remember Red from WAI crew over in California. He had hit me up. And, he thought it was cool because he wrote Reds, and he did more characters than anything that I can remember.
Mm-hmm, sure.
I may be wrong. But I never thought of it like that. Like I'm saying, like I didn't have a mentor to tell me the right do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
So I didn't. And it's not that I'm trying to fall back like this is my excuse, because me and him have gotten into it, in the past few years. When he saw them, I really started taking off.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, you got to drop your name. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and as you've learned, that's just kind of part of it, It's like you can just stake your claim and just keep going.
Yeah.
I know of that WAI Reds, and again, I do know of him as a character guy. And then there was a Red. He used to write Kept back in San Francisco in the 90s, and he had to change it when he had all this drama, and he wrote Red from this crew called KIL. But and I'm just guessing there's other Reds in the world just because it's an awesome name and they're great letters, I'm curious about that. Did you also, when you thought, well, I'm going to go and do a Red piece tonight, did you like the letters? Were you interested in those those letters in particular, or was it just this whole red crayon nickname thing? You're like, well, that's what I'm going to do.
It was really the red crayon thing, because I hate, let me emphasize that, drawing the letter D. That is a hard, it's just so difficult to make that look so fresh. And maybe it is just for me, but that's the reason why I ended up adding the S at the end. Because ending something like in that D, you can't do much.
Right.
Because then it starts looking like an O or something or a different letter.
It's kind of true.
So
It's kind of true.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need more, and let's just go with the S.
But that very first piece on that wall, you did do a red piece. Can you tell us about the mission? Like, where'd you get your paint from? How did you get it? And when did you go to paint that wall? Like, what time of day?
I think it was like 10 at night.
Okay.
I kind of waited till like traffic died down or whatever, and I went straight, just to Home Depot and grabbed, cans. And it was just that, I was like, all right, well, here goes nothing.
Yeah.
Get me like.
And you went solo?
Let's do this. Yes.
Okay. And like, what was it a piece or was it a throw up? I can't remember what you said.
It was just a quick get up. It was a hollow because I didn't want to take too long. And like my heart was like beating out of my chest. Yeah. I'm like, oh God. And I'm here getting like bit by mosquitoes because it's like this huge grass area. Oh. And I'm just like freaking out. My anxiety is like through the roof. I'm like, oh my God, there's probably like cockroaches here, which I hate bugs. Anybody that knows me and has gone painting with me, I freak the fuck out when I see an insect.
Okay. So you had to weather the jungle to get to the wall, and you're getting bit by mosquitoes, and you do a red hollow, and that's it. And you bounced.
It was terrible.
Got back in your car, drove. It was terrible, but it was your first thing, and it was like official. Like you went out bombing, and you went solo, and like you said, there was like this thing. Actually, you tell me what was your feeling? What was the emotion the next day, or whenever you got to roll back by and see that your throwy was still sitting there?
I just started giggling and like smiling. I'm like, yeah, I did that. That's me. Yeah. Need more.
And that kind of feeling, right? It stays with us, and we just are like more, right?
Yes.
And so, then will you just walk us through a little bit, like maybe 2007, 2008? How did things progress for you? What was like a bit of your graph timeline in the early years?
Oh, it was just an obsession like it is now. I just kept wanting to paint, and back then, we would post them like on bombing science, and there goes like a bunch of writers, which I know today and are actually my friends now, but hella people just talking so much shit, like, what the fuck is that? That shit's toy as fuck, blah, blah. And like when they found out that I was a girl, they're like, oh, she won't make it. She won't be here a year from now. Whatever, this is trash. Like, let's keep it going. And I'm like, damn. It's like that? I'm like, okay, all right, I see y'all. And I just kept painting. It became, like, I was so determined. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this. And I was so obsessed with getting rooftops back then.
Or early on in that 2007, 2008 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you were about getting really those ups.
Without really knowing, like, a spot, like the location of a spot means a lot too.
Right.
I had no idea about that. Well, but I went ahead and climbed up, to my first rooftop. And I'm like, everyone's going to see this. This is going to be great. And I nearly fall through the freaking roof. And I'm like, okay, this is a little dangerous. Like, oh my God, what am I doing up here? While there's like a security like roaming around the shopping plaza, I'm like, oh God, this is not going to be good. And I mean, and the night ended up well. And the next day I get a few phone calls from people like, hey, I saw your spot over on 49th Street, blah, blah. Dude, that shit's dope, blah. And that felt great.
And you did that rooftop solo. How'd you scope it out? Were you like riding the freeway and that's how you saw it? Or where did you see it from?
It was actually just, it's down this one street, which is pretty popular out in Hialeah because that's the area I'm from.
Okay.
And it's just a shopping plaza.
Okay.
And
so people see it when they're walking around.
Yeah, and there's like, it was like a little ledge that I had to hang out from. Like, it was weird, but it was still like, on top of the roof.
Yeah. But
you can see it. And, people were calling me, like, telling me that. At the end of the day, I say all graffiti artists, we're all selfish. I'm sorry. Like, you may be humble, nice, all this, but at the end of the day, we're selfish.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going around writing your name on someone else's property. You know, it's pretty bold.
Exactly, and trying to be the most up.
Yeah.
You get me? Like, I want you to read my name every single day, you know? So that just felt so good, you know, to have people like, oh shit, people are seeing this.
Well,
like,
and what did you do up on that roof? Did you do another hollow, or did you do like a filled in?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so another hollow. So to this point, you've still yet to even probably learn how to cut back with spray paint, right? Like, you haven't figured that out yet because you've never done a fill-in.
No,
Mm-hmm.
I did not.
And you're also still completely without mentor, without partners, without crew. In 2007 and 2000, was it? Tell me that actually. When did you first start to link up with someone at this point that was like, yo, let me just show you a couple of things?
Well, there was that guy, remember that?
Pico?
He had told me, hey, you should take this to the wall.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he was learning himself. You get me? So we were both kind of like figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, though he knew a little more than I did, of course. And, you know, once we started painting, I progressed really, really quick because I was so determined, you know, and within like a year span, the progression was crazy. That, you know, there was a few people that were like, damn, like, she's progressing quite a bit. Like, she gets it. You know, my first filled in piece wasn't even half that, to be honest. Like, yeah, letter style wise, pretty whack, but you can see, like, there were certain lines that I would be able to, like, to just get so clean, and I got the concept of it, you know, but I stuck with it, and I just kept practicing. Like, it was my obsession. It's what I wanted to do every single day.
Yeah. And so were you doing it every day? Were you going out painting nightly?
Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously, you know, once I did get arrested, like the first time, it slowed down. Like, I didn't stop.
And you did say earlier that you started in like October of 2007. You got bagged the first time in like November. So, and how did that go down?
Bad.
Where were you that you got arrested?
Dude, I wasn't even painting, first of all. Okay? Like, the two other guys I was with, they had thrown my name up. It was like this whole industry area, and there's a bunch of trucks and like roll down doors and stuff. And they had thrown my name up because I couldn't go with them that week to go paint. So we're scoping out a billboard, and I tell this guy, like, I had just finished buying paint, as a matter of fact, from the guy from Double Before before he had his company.
Okay.
And I had a whole bunch like of Montanas, and I'm all happy, like, yeah, I got dope ass paint, you know, word, okay. And they're like, all right, let's go scope out this billboard. And as soon as I see where he's parking, I'm like, dude, this is not a good idea. You just bombed this area completely. And in this like little town, which is called Medley, there's like 40 cops roaming the streets. And it's a small, like tiny town. It's like a few streets. So these cops have nothing better to do than to just drive around all the time. And sure enough, you know, as we're walking back to the spot, there's just blue and red lights bouncing off the walls. And I'm like, dude, I told you not to park here. He's like, well, I got to go back to my car. I'm like, homie, we got two options right now. Like, we either all go back and we're all going to get arrested, or we can fucking try to jet out of here. And he's like, no, but they're going to impound my car. I'm like, they're going to impound your car regardless.
Yeah.
So let's try to fucking make a move. But we got to go right now, because if not, they're going to call this shit in and they're going to be roaming around looking for us. Well, he fucking decided to do whatever he wanted to do. He went back to the car, and so it's me and my other homie. He's on probation, and he's flipping out because this is my first time getting arrested. And he's like, dude, you're a girl. Like, fuck, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's okay. We hid for like an hour. All our phones die. And at this point, we really can't even go out because there's cops just roaming the streets looking for us.
Okay.
And they bring out even a canine. I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's not that serious. But yeah, that was my first. We ended up, you know, just getting caught, basically.
Did they find you where you were hiding, or did you eventually walk out and then they picked you up?
Well, right there we heard the dogs, and I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not getting bit by a dog.
Yeah,
I'm not getting bit by a dog. Like, we were hiding behind and under a van, which was a dead end. That's why we couldn't run anymore. It was a dead end. And I said, fuck that. I'm just going to come out, because if they unleash those dogs, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm so good. And luckily, that time that I got arrested, like I said, I hadn't even painted.
Yeah.
One of the officers tried pinning 3 felonies on me, which
Whoa.
was, for vandalism. And I'm in the cell already. So she had 3 counts of felonies, for that, for vandalism, loitering, and graffiti paraphernalia, which I'm like, really? I'm 18. I'm allowed to buy spray paint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I threw the papers back at her. I'm like, I'm not signing that. Like, I don't agree to that. I'm not taking those 3 felonies.
What ended up happening with that case? They drop it all, I presume?
They ended up dropping it. I got like a really good lawyer, and they ended up just dropping it.
Okay. What happened to your homie too that was on probation? Because he came out with you from under the van?
Yeah, he ended up having to do time, a little bit of time.
That sucks.
And what sucks is that after that day, both of them stopped painting.
Okay.
So I was on my own.
But you were just like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to keep going. I mean, it's your first time getting bagged for graft, so it wasn't a big deal. And so, okay, so you keep going.
I remember being locked up in the back seat, and one of them, I mean, whatever. There hasn't been any names dropped, but dude starts crying.
Well,
and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what are you going through right now? He's like, dude, my girlfriend, my mom. I'm like, we're going to be locked up for like one night. We're going to be out tomorrow. Like, we'll be straight. No, we got to better our lives. I'm like, you know what? You're on your own. You are on your own. And it's funny that 3 years later, do I find him at the gas station? And at this point, I had gotten into one of the crews that he wanted to get into. And I was, rolling around with riders that I never thought I would be able to roll around with.
Okay, what crew was that?
And MSG.
I didn't know you were MSG. Those are the homies.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to finish that story, and then I want to ask you about that.
Well, he then sees me, and he asks me, he's like, dude, that's so dope that you kept going. Is there any way that you can put me down in MSG? I'm like, fool, you haven't painted in the past 3 years, and like you weren't even that good back then. Like, how do you just expect me to like put you in? You decided to quit.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck, man, there's nothing you can do about that? I'm like, no, this isn't a homie hookup. Like, that's not how it goes.
And you don't have a time machine to go back in time for the homie. So, okay, so then tell me about that. How'd you get put down? And basically, you've been going nonstop since 2007. At this point, it's about 2010 when you get put down with MSG. Is that right?
Yeah.
Who did you know from that crew? Who put you down?
Well, it started off because I was actually first put in KOI, which is like a branch, from MSG. And KOI meant a lot to me, even more than MSG, because I was raised around Hialeah in Carroll City. KOI is also a gang in Carroll City. And Doper, which he's the one that runs KOI, and he's also an MSG, he's the one that found interest in me.
Okay.
He's like, he saw the potential in me, while a lot of people in MSG, like, they talked a house of shit about me. Like, she's no good. Oh, she's not MSG material. Like, they did not want to vote me in. And that's fine. I get it.
Can I ask you what kind of style you think you had before you got into KOI? Like, did you think you were worthy of being in a crew like KOI?
Yes, I did. Because at that point I was already PC.
Yeah.
And like, my throw up wasn't the best, but it was there. You can see, like I said, you can see the progression throughout those years. It wasn't that I was getting worse. There was no chance. I was not getting worse. I was getting better, and Doper, did try to help me out a bit. And he just was always so encouraging about everything. And he pushed so hard for me to be a part of MSG. And I appreciate that,
Yeah, I mean, it's
he always had.
When people with skill when people take interest, man, it says a lot, especially to someone who has not had anyone really kind of step up for them. I'm curious, what year did you get into KOI?
I think it was like, 2009, like early 2009, if I'm not mistaken, maybe late 2008.
And did you do a lot of bombing with those KOI heads?
I didn't. I really didn't. It was just me because he at that time was living like in Central Florida, and you know, not a lot of people were pushing KOI anymore. But it was fine. You know, I didn't mind. Like, if I really believe in a crew, like, I don't care if no one's pushing it. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and run with it.
And I'm curious if you were the only girl in KOI at the time.
That I knew of, yeah.
And so then, when you, then in around 2010, you're telling us that there was like MSG crew basically was like, nah, she's not worthy, but Doper had your back. How did you then get into MSG? Do you think Doper just like stood up and was like, no, this is what's happening? Or did he convince others? No.
Yeah, they had votes. They had votes, and he called everybody, you know, like, hey, is it cool if you know, we're thinking of putting her in, you know, what do you feel about that? And like I said, there was a lot that were like really happy. They'd known me from like before, you know, they saw me. Some of them even knew me from even before I started painting. What I'm telling you, because they would go to that Catalyst spot.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was friends with Atomic at the time. And, you know, he vouched for me. There, you know, there was a lot of people that did vouch for me.
Shout out to the homie. He's been on this podcast. Got to give him a holler. Cool. So that dude had your back as well. And then you had said KOI was like kind of almost more important in a way when you got down, but getting into MSG also must have been a pretty awesome moment for you in 2010. Like, you know, it was. Yeah. I mean, those dudes kind of king. Like, they kind of king a lot around in Miami. I mean, those dudes are everywhere and beyond Miami.
Well, you know, like at that point, I didn't even make a year with the crew, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I'm very, how can I say, I'm very blunt, you know, and I don't know how to say things sometimes. But to me, like, if I'm going to be a part of a crew, if I'm going to be pushing those 3 letters, like, I better feel that my crew has my back and my best interest. Yeah. And when you have, like, a group of these kids, you know, just talking shit and just being negative, you get me? But yet you'll see me and then you'll say what's up. Like, don't be a hypocrite. Like, you were just talking shit about me. Yeah. Like, I will respect you more if you just turn your face and not say what's up. Because that's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, and even though I am friends with, you know, a few MSGs still, you know, we still talk. As a matter of fact, one of them is a 004.
Okay.
You know, it was very disappointing. You know,
okay. So by 2011, okay. So then you didn't even rock that crew for a year. What were the next couple years like? Because I mean, I know that you're in TKO and you're in AM7. I'm curious about the next few years, like 2012, 13, 14, because, you know, I'm interested also in, I don't know when you got on Instagram, but you have like a good following, you know, it seems like you got a lot of shine on the Instagram. In 2012 or whatever, after you kind of weren't pushing MSG anymore, and KOI is kind of a small crew that people aren't really pushing, were you just kind of back to being Reds and you're kind of solo again without mentor, or was it different?
I was already AM7.
Talk about that. How'd that happen?
Tax, and going back to MySpace days, and he didn't even know I was a girl in the beginning. He had just noticed how clean my lines were, and that's always something that I've also been like recognized for, like very clean, you know, painting. And he reached out to me and, you know, had told me, he's like, oh, I'm interested. Would you want to push AM7 one day? I'm like, yeah, I mean, that sounds cool. And he's like, all right, give me a phone call. We'll talk about it. And as soon as I call him, he hears my voice. He's like, oh, you're a girl. I'm like, yeah, what did you expect? And he's like, oh, shit, all right, cool. So this even makes it better. And right then and there, you know, he would always tell me, like, he would push me to always paint clean. Like, he would straight up, like, I would paint something, show him, and he's like, well, you could have done better, this, that. And like, at that point, I'm like, damn, he's a little harsh. Like, why is he being so mean? But now I see it. I'm like, damn, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
was
because
just
he
schooling
really
you.
fucking pushed me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's actually that's a sign of respect, you know, that he was willing to take that time, I think.
Yeah.
And what year was that you got into AM7?
I believe it was also 2008.
Okay. And like,
Yes.
were you aware that AM7 was kind of like spread out? Like there were heads in that crew like all over?
Yes.
Mhm.
And here's another fun fact about AM7. AM7 also had covers on like car magazines. They were really known in the car industry, like
Interesting.
in the car scene,
I didn't know that.
because they had such great Hondas, like built. The way they built those things were amazing. And they were so known. So even my homies from the car scene knew about them. And so I was rocking, like the whole AM7 thing. Not, and I wasn't trying to like floss like, oh, I'm a part of the car crew of this thing, but it was just cool that my two favorite things
had
were
merged.
one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't even know where AM7 started. What city is it from?
I don't know if to tell you if it's Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah. Something.
And I believe it is Tennessee.
Okay. And you said the homie Tax put you on?
Yeah, Tax.
Uh-huh. And you've been pushing it ever since. And so then there's this whole thing so you were in AM7. Was that your first big crew you got put into before KOI?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And that must have felt pretty cool too, right? Getting into this sort of like kind of big spread out crew. And then I guess since we're just on the topic of crews, like what about TKO? How did that connection happen and when?
That connection was probably like 3 years ago. And they had flown me out to a Colorado Crush event, and I met them. I met them all, and I fell in love with all of them. Like, they were just so awesome, to kick it with. And that year also, T-Lo had shown up to that event. And I kicked it with them. We were getting just hammered. Just the things we were going through were just great. And they were asking me for a while, like, hey, we want you to push TKO. I'm like, I don't know. Like, let me get to know you guys better. And I kept going to Denver throughout that year because I just loved it. I loved their just how they got down. The friendships I created with a few of them, like, was just great. And after a year, finally, I went back to the next Colorado Crush. And what's funny is that they gave me a wall, right? But they didn't want them because that first year was a shit show.
And that was 2014?
I believe so.
Okay. Shit show,
I believe so.
How so?
Just, the problem is like everyone thinks that we start problems, and I don't really see it as that. It's just we check people like really quick. Okay. But then we're the bullies. You get me? So it's like, why did you go ahead and start talking shit, or why did you do this?
Right.
Thinking that we were just going to turn our cheek to that. Like, that's not the way it goes. And so that next year that I went, the second year to Colorado Crush, they gave me a wall. And I told them, I'm like, hey, can I put like some of the TKOs on here? And they're like, I don't know. Like, that's going to start problems. I'm like, okay. Like, mind you, all of them had asked me, like, I want to paint the wall on that. And Boke was coming from Omaha. He was driving over. Okay. And he's like with the like thing in his mind, like, oh, I'm going to paint the wall. And they made me put Reds and Friends. And that's been an inside joke all along.
Reds and Friends.
Like, Reds and Friends.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
And next thing you know, it's like 8 TKOs on this wall. You get me? When they only gave me permission for like 2. I'm sorry, Pisto. So sorry.
I'm sure it all worked out.
It worked out.
And was it on that trip that you like kind of solidified everything with those TKOs, and you were like, okay, I'll push this crew. You guys are my peeps.
Well, the funny thing is that that night when I finally decided, I hadn't told anybody in the crew, okay, that I decided, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and push TKO. Like, these are good guys. Like, I feel like they're the homies. You get me? They're super loyal to me. Like, and that's very important. They have my back no matter what. So let's run with it. And I hadn't told them anything. So finally, I go ahead and tell Coz, I'm like, yo, I want to be TKO. And he starts laughing. He goes, yeah? He goes, do you know what you're doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. And he starts laughing. He goes, well, homie, let me tell you something. Your piece, I already put a TKO on it. He was like, you were in whether you wanted to or not.
And that's like an infamous crew. I mean, that crew has so much history, so much cred, been around a long time. I mean, I would argue that's the oldest crew that you're in. I could be wrong about that. AM7 people, MSG, or the other crews that you're in. You know, my apologies if I'm wrong, but I mean, I've just known about TKO since late 80s. You know, so I mean, that's cool. It's a cool story. Reds and friends. You know, I mentioned Instagram because I'm curious because like I mentioned earlier in the interview, like you're a post-internet graph kid. Like your entire graph career has existed under the like kind of the umbrella of the internet.
Yeah.
How do you use it as a tool for like any other tool in your bag of tricks? Because like I said, I see the shine you get on Instagram. How does it work for you, or how do you work for it? What's your relationship like?
It's a love and hate relationship, to be honest.
Talk about that.
And I will say, you know, there's a lot of pros and cons that come with it. You know, I'm thankful for that because you're able to network. You're able to reach out, you know, to certain people that you would have had to like gone through like an obstacle course. Before.
Exactly.
You know, I'm thankful for it because since I travel a lot, I'm able to connect quickly with people. So it's not like I have to wait to get to the city and see like, whoa, where should I go? You know, what walls or what stores can I hit up? You know, like everything is at the palm of your hand right there. I can say, you know, I've been lucky enough to been able to like make money off of this. There's times, you know, when I moved out to California, I was struggling for a while. You know, I didn't have a job or anything, so I had to hustle any way that I could. And I've always kind of been against, like, not against, but just like, doing the canvases. Like, I don't like doing canvases. I hate it. And anyone that really knows me knows that about me. Like, I just stress doing them. And I've been able to, like, when I release, like, little canvases or little things that I've drawn up, like, they'll sell out quick. You know, and it's because of the internet, because we're able to set up stores or just even make a post on Instagram like, hey, limited run, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, where you go. And I've been able to make rent. I've been able to fucking put food in my stomach because of that, you know? And because of the whole traveling and being able, you know, to paint in all these different cities, I have other people interested once they see like the Instagram. They're like, oh shoot, like this is what you do. This is all your work. If they haven't heard about me before.
Right.
And it's like you know, it's a portfolio that you just carry around pretty much to me, the way that I have my Instagram set up.
I agree.
You know, so I think it's a great thing. Now what sucks is, you know, it's like if you're putting in work, the illegal work, a lot of illegal work, obviously, it's kind of self-snitching in a way.
Yeah.
You know, and we're all guilty of it. If you don't have an Instagram, then hey, you're doing it right. But at the end of the day, we got to admit, we are self-snitching on ourselves. You know, so it's like, do I want to keep my Instagram or do I just want to erase it and continue, you know, doing all this work, putting in all this work and not self-snitching myself out?
So it's kind of, there's like a tension there. You're kind of being pulled in two directions, basically, because you got to eat. And, you know, and that's one way that you do it. So then, like, if you were to like look in the crystal ball, like what's in the future for you and your social media and within this sort of graph culture and career, what do you think is coming for you? What's next?
Well, I'm not sure. You know, I will say like there was a peak that I hit for a while, and I know that everything changed once I became TKO. You know, we do have a lot of beef. We have a lot of problems with a lot of people. And then it sucks that my pieces are the ones that are, you know, being affected by this. Because why? Because I'm the one that's out there. I'm the one in different cities. So it's easy for these guys to find my stuff right away. So I'm the one that's getting dissed left and right. And that was one thing. I didn't want to involve myself in certain beefs with TKO, like that were from TKO. And I even mentioned to them, like, unless they target me directly, I don't want this beef.
Yeah.
But of course, and it's been funny that a few like have finally been like, like we don't want it no more because I will destroy all your shit in one night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like nothing holds me back. Just don't talk shit about me and don't target me when I had nothing to do with that beef from before.
Yeah, which is tricky, right? When you start pushing the crew, it's like crew is crew. Yeah. You know, it just happens.
And I get it, and they understood too when I said, I don't want any part of it, but it is what it is, and obviously I'm gonna push for my crew. Yeah. And if you're out dissing all my shit, then it's not even. To be honest, it's not even about like, crew versus crew type shit. No, I'm going after you now.
Yeah.
You're my target. I don't even care about everybody else. You're my target. You're my problem.
Yeah. And with a crew like TKO, because they're so respected, like I have so much respect for those guys for the longevity. But what comes with longevity is a lot of people's feelings get hurt. A lot of dudes get side busted, just painted over. So then just drama occurs, beef occurs, and it builds over years, right? And that sometimes graft beef just doesn't go away. It needs to be squashed, and there's always a couple of ways to squash it. And then what about, so that has to do with kind of crews and everything. What about just you as an individual, as an artist? Like, what do you think is in your future? What's down the road?
I really don't know, to be honest.
Well, you're a young kid. Maybe you don't have to know, you got that advantage.
But I just see it as like, I kind of just live my life like, whatever, you get me? Like, whatever comes my way. I'm also the type that I'll pick up all my shit and move from one day to another. Yeah, like, man. That's how I roll.
Listen, enjoy that. I got a wife and baby now. I can't do it anymore. I remember those days, and it's a good feeling when you're like, I could just bounce, Yeah.
Yeah. Right now is when I'm actually trying to like settle a little bit, and I'm helping out, with the 004 store, and because we also have like other companies like right next to it that it's like. We have a sandwich spot that's like all graffiti related, full of vintage cans, and nice. A big like rail box on the side of the shop.
Cool.
Like it's So I'm just I want to be a part of that right now. I have a lot to thank from 004. Dude that runs it. He's not a writer, but he's like a brother to me, honestly.
Cool.
And I just want to help him, push this forward. You get me?
Well, and like on the topic of thanks.
Myself around graffiti. I know that.
Okay, yeah. And when it comes to thanks, I want to thank you again for like carving out the time to talk with us today. It's been great. It's been awesome. Like I said, I think you are the youngest writer on this show, and that's so cool, man. Like I'm really happy about it. And we also we use this podcast as a way to drive traffic to the artists that we're interviewing. So what you're mentioning 004, can you also tell us like where we can find your work on Instagram, or if you have a website or a Facebook page? What are they?
I just have my Instagram, and that's the @Reds_004_.
Okay, 2 underscores. That's where we can find you. If I mean, I know you say you don't like really doing the canvas work, but if people want to commission you for work, is that the best way for them to contact you, through DM?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just another little plug for the 004. It's a shop, right? Where can we find the 004 store?
004, I mean, they have their online store, and then they have the store down here in Miami, which is in the Wynwood area where Art Basel happens.
All right. And that's where we can go and check it out. Reds, great talking to you. Thank you so much for spending the time. It's been really interesting to learn about your story.
Thank you, dude.
Thanks for listening to another episode of My Life in Letters. We record live in Bushwick, Brooklyn, USA. Our producer is Christopher Piccioni. Our social media manager is Jonathan Drexler. Our videographer is Jordan Milkner for Way Up Creative. Our intern is Tamika Schlesinger. Our theme music is by Fonte. And my name is Adam Fujita. If you guys have got something to say, drop us a line at our Instagram page at My Life in Letters Podcast, or send us an email at mylifeinletterspodcast@gmail.com. We're always looking for your feedback, and we're always looking for ways to grow and be better. Write a review on iTunes or Google Play. Share the podcast with your friends. Get your whole crew to subscribe, and have a great day. Thanks for listening.
The language of letters. My life, my life, my life.